What's going on? What's going on, everybody? I'm not going to be on here long because I need to get some sleep, but I figure I might as well get a few things off my chest anyway while I'm here. Um, so the last time I went live, I was talking about the fact that I cut my hair. As in, I used to have locks, and then I cut them out, and my hair's short. Then obviously I went to go get my shit did, but this is my interview hair. This is for when I hopefully get the interview for the job of my dreams. But that's neither here nor there. I want to talk about the fact that I need to follow up on what happened when I cut my hair. So I posted a photo on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, cut my hair. That's what's going down." And then white guy, why is it always a white dude? White guy I went to high school with straight up says, "You literally look just like Medea." Did this motherfucker really just compare me to a black man in drag? The fuck? And we just don't see an issue with that? Seriously, if you just see a black woman and she, cut her hair for her own personal reasons, why is your first thought to compare that black woman to a black man in drag? That also brings me to my follow up question. So, when black men dress in drag, does that denigrate black women more? Then, a follow up question to the follow up question, why does that not reciprocate for white women? These are the questions, folks. That's what I want to know. Why is it that there's at least two movies off the top of my head that I can think of where white men have dressed in drag, laugh, 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 ha, 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 in a movie, and white women don't get masculinized, not nearly on the same level as black women? That's what I gotta know. I need to know that right now because it's not the first time. It is not the first time in my life that I, as a black woman, have been compared to a black man in a fucking dress. Why? I'll tell you the first time it happened. I was in middle school and I had and I still had my locks and everything. My locks went all the way down to my butt, things like that, right? So this white boy, once again, different one, decides to start calling me Shanae because that was the name of Martin Lawrence when he dressed in drag on the Martin Lawrence show. So that lets me know quite a few things. One, white boys that live in the suburbs are watching the Martin Lawrence show. Don't know why, but that's what's happening. And then when they see a black girl in real life, because it doesn't happen often for them, they immediately compare them to a black man in drag. Why? The whites are at it again, people. Now, I it's Women's History Month, and I have questions that need answers. Why is it that in 2022 we are still hyper masculinizing black women, myself included? Right, like why is white people watching the Martin show? Clearly, that show is not meant for white people, but they watch it. But then what they do with that information, they use it to further denigrate black people. In this instance, black women. Why is that? Is this thing on? I got questions. Why do we have black women name in our mouths right now? We need to leave black women alone, because black women, we be minding our black ass business, but everybody has any and everything to say to denigrate black women. Why is that? I wouldn't consider myself a vain person, but one thing I know for sure, I look nothing like Tyler Perry's ass in drag. So you're asking ignorant questions. That's why you will never find the answers. Tell me something. What is ignorant about wanting to know why you're constantly being compared to a black man in drag? I gotta know that. Please explain to me in layman's terms how it's ignorant for me to ask why I am being insulted. You aren't. Okay, so I just don't understand my own experience as it is happening to me. Is that what it is? And that would be the white paternalism right there. Only I know what's best for you. You don't know what's actually best for you. You don't understand your own experience, but I understand your experience. Child, anyways. Pew. Because the shit is getting old. It is getting old. Real fast. Right. Like, white people get the most triggered when they are called on their problematic behavior. And then they get even more offended when they slowly start to realize that when they do that dumbass shit, black people analyze that shit too. That we're analyzing your whiteness right now. How else do you think we come to the conclusions that we do about our black ass experience unless we enter into white spaces and then take a step back and analyze what the fuck happened? It's almost like we're people, and that's what people do. Is that when you find yourself in an ignorant ass situation, you take a step back and you analyze what the fuck happened. Okay, so let me get this straight. I'm racist to white people because I'm calling them out on their problematic behavior because they're the ones comparing me to a black man in drag. The math isn't mathing though, because I don't need to be insulted. If you don't have anything nice to say, you really should just shut the fuck up. But see, that would be white people's problem though, is that you don't shut the fuck up. In fact, you keep talking, open mouth, insert foot, you keep saying that dumbass shit, then get extra butthurt when we call you out on that problematic behavior, and the whole white defensiveness, white solidarity combo comes at me. Why? Again, if it sounds bad coming out of your mouth, 9 times out of 10, you shouldn't say it. It's really that simple. Okay, so comparing black women to men is somehow facts to you? How? How is that? You're not presenting facts. You're just being racist. Like, we really aren't, like, what the fuck? Could you imagine being married to this? Sir, I'm too good for you. I don't want to be married to a Mayo maggot. Bold of you to assume that I was on the market. I am not. Thanks for not asking. Right, like, remember, like, yeah, I remember that shit. They was comparing Michelle Obama to a fucking gorilla. Like, it was this whole ass meme where they just compared Michelle Obama to a fucking primate. Like, the anti-blackness is seething, and this woman is an Ivy League graduate. She is top tier, that 100% that bitch. So that leads me to believe that even if a black woman gets her credentials, even if a black woman has all her ducks in a row, has all her shit together, at the end of the day, she will still be compared to either an animal or a fucking man in the eyes of white society. This is what happens to black women within the white gaze. Why? Guys, the host pronouns are he, him. Like, they're literally still doing it. Even as I am talking, minding my black ass business, they are changing my pronouns, which I never even mentioned, by the way. They are changing or assuming my pronouns to be he, him, simply off of the fact that I am a black woman. And I did nothing except set a boundary and go, how about we don't do that? Right, like if black women didn't exist, who will white women imitate? That's a good ass question right there. Oh my god. Yes, white centric beauty standards, white supremacy, all of this other type of mess. My favorite part is when the Bayo maggots get on here and they say, black women are ugly. I like women with blue eyes. I like women with blonde hair or whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, to quote a TikTok video, we do not care. We were not checking for you. This is no sweat off my back. If you prefer somebody the fuck else that is not me, okay. That's not hurting my feelings. That's a sigh of relief, honestly. Thank God I am not your type. Hallelujah. May the church say amen. That is, you are doing me a favor. Right, they really do want us extinct. It's a preference. I'm a black male telling you to get over yourself and stop with your race card BS. It sounds like you just tap dancing for white people. My question is, black man, have they picked you yet? I don't think they picked you yet. Tap dance a little harder. I don't think they heard you the first time, Bojangles. Keep it up. Shuck and jive. Shuck and jive. You are gorgeous and real too. Well, thank you. That's all I know how to be, baby. Oh my God. You suffer from learned helplessness. I suffer from learned helplessness? The fuck is that? How? How am I a pick me? Who am I asking to pick me? All I said was keep black women name out your mouth. That's all I said. That is all I said to do. If you don't have nothing nice to say to a black woman, or if you're wondering if the next thing you about to say out your mouth might come off some type of way, to just not say it the fuck at all. How is that being a pick me? That's the part that I want to know. Because when I was growing up, that's the same thing that I was told. If I didn't have anything nice to say, to shut the fuck up. It's like doing way too much for no reason. Oh my God. Kamala Harris is a joke. Yes, yes, she is. Yes, she is. Why is your hair straightened? You asking like you about to send me some money so that I can get some more hair. Cause why are we in my black ass business but not providing the funding to get the answer to that black ass business? Cause it looked like if your name ain't on my lease, if your name is not on my checkbook, if your name ain't the name that I call on my cell phone when a bill needs to be paid, then you don't have a say in what goes on in my life, honestly. But see, y'all got a problem with that one. Like you, the last I checked, I need you to bring your tone down because you scared me. That sounds like a weak bitch. That sounds like you just need to leave. How that sounds like a personal problem. Right, like some people really do got the fucking nerve. But anyway, while we're on the subject, I also got a backup page. It is called the Caucasity Counselor for obvious reasons. Because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. But anyway, in case y'all didn't know before, this is my interview hair. I'm excited. I recently put in my application to be a family and equity liaison. That's the official title. It's where you work within the school district, primarily with BIPOC communities and eliminating gaps that will hinder BIPOC students from success. So living in a predominantly white area, I live in Oregon. Let that sink in. I live in Southern Oregon. So let that sink in even further. It is a predominantly white area, bathed in white supremacy. So there's a lot of barriers that BIPOC students have to go through. And I know because I went through the same school district, and we need to address those issues. Just because it is the norm, that does not mean that it's right. Because it's not. So I'm really hoping that I get called in for that interview because, baby, when I walk in, honey, I got a purpose. I wrote a kick-ass cover letter. My resume is on fleek. And this hair is giving, okay? Girl. Race doesn't matter. It's how you apply yourself, young lady. Okay, but nobody asked you, Mayo Maggot, because the last time I checked, I literally just said that I live in the state of Oregon. Now, if you did your homework, instead of coming at me with that bullshit, you would have understood that it wasn't until 2021 that the state of Oregon passed a law that said it's illegal to discriminate on hiring practices based on hair texture. Now, I wonder, what race of people does that affect most of all? That's what the fuck I thought. Anyways. They really thought they ate. They still starving, honey. They still starving. A leftist utopia state. Oh, honey, let me give you 2 hugs. Because you thought Oregon is not leftist. It's not. Oh, you thought that just because a state votes blue, that everybody just sings Kumbaya? We are the world? Is that what you thought? Oh, baby. That's sad. Google. Google is useful. And I wish that wasn't the reality that we live in, but here we are. Here we are. Like, I just, but back to the job title. So I really hope that I get the position because it means a lot to me to give back to the same community that I've been living in for over 10 years. Because I absolutely understand what these little black boys and girls are going to go through when they go through the Oregon public school system. These motherfuckers, let me tell you why. Because, okay, so when I was in middle school, I had just come from Baltimore, where I'm from, and I had locks at the time, all the way down my back. And one day, my mom, back when she was alive, she would braid my locks some days. So this particular day, my locks have been freshly maintained, washed, clean, twisted, all that shit, and braided. So my scalp is extra tender that day, black people. Do you feel me on this? When I say that it felt like my thoughts was stressing out, they were, because that's how bad it was. So my scalp is tender. I'm not having a good day. Next thing I know, out of nowhere, my white teacher, Miss Bingham, just touches my braid. Because a white teacher, I don't think y'all heard me the first time, a white teacher touched my braids. Why? Why? You don't do that to white students. And then with black people, we did not grant you permission to touch us. But see, the entitlement that you have to black bodies is still ever present. And I'm 13 at the time. And this is a grown-ass white woman. A grown-ass. You would think that she would know better, but she don't. You want to know why? Because she white and she live here. That is the level of ignorance that we have out here. So, a position like this, a family and equity liaison that works within the school district, a predominantly white one, would call out that shit and say, if you are teaching a class and you see that you have a black student, don't touch their hair. That counts as assault. Do not touch their hair. Don't even ask if you can touch their hair. That would be working towards being actively anti-racist, is that if you were told from the beginning not to do something that is potentially problematic and to keep your ass out the doghouse. But see, they did not have all of that when I went through the school system. So that's why I am really interested in this position, because that would be the type of knowledge that I would drop on these white folks. Like, look, you can't be treating these black students like that. Did you tell your mom? So, no, I didn't tell my mom. And there's a little bit of backstory to that. So, before my mom passed away, she was a heavy alcoholic. She was really irresponsible. So I didn't feel supported at home, if that makes any sense. Back when I was in middle school, transitioning to high school, and so forth. So that would be the reason. But when I tell you that I was in the office every other day for fighting, and because, like I was the type where I just took matters into my own fucking hands, because I truly did at the time, I felt alone. So that's what part? Oh, I'm from West Baltimore. I went to Westside Elementary School. Then I went to Lamel. And then I moved here. So culture shock doesn't even cut it of what I went through. So imagine growing up in West Baltimore and then you come out here. Honey. West Side stand up. Hey. Eight down the hell. Eight down the hell. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But yeah, that's the reality of the situation. So that is what occurred. Really? I just told you a story about how a white teacher, without my permission, touched my scalp. And you think that I'm the one that doesn't need to be around kids? Wow, okay. So we just out here thinking that white teachers should just be touching on black kids' hair. Honey, it was always the caucasity for me. What you mean much less gang violence out here? Oh, you thought that... Honey, America was founded on gangs. And if... Police is the ultimate gang. Gang violence, ask the cops. Because there is one. That is a whole gang organization. If you don't think that law enforcement is organized crime, po baby. Because guess what? Information leaked out that a lot of Oregon law enforcement have ties to white supremacist militia groups. That's not a coincidence considering Oregon's state history. It was literally founded to be a white ethno-state. How do you think that kind of shit was enforced? Gang violence composed of white people. Oh my God, y'all really thought that gang was synonymous with black? Po baby. Can you provide the source so I can see it? I doubt it exists. It's literally on my TikTok. See, you don't pay attention. That's the kind of shit I be talking about. You already wanna, well, where is the facts? Where is the facts? Motherfucker, look it up. Sources, look it up. It's on my TikTok. You can go to my page. There it is. Or you can go to my goddamn backup page, the Caucasity Counselor. It is there too. It's literally full of news articles that corresponds with exactly what the fuck it is that I am talking about. How is that a logical fallacy? I'm not making this shit up. News sources have talked about this very topic. The only reason why you find a fallacy with it is that it goes against your personal ideology, and that's not my fucking problem. That doesn't take away from the fact that lynchings have still occurred within the state of Oregon, that black people and other people of color are systemically being gunned down, some of which by law enforcement. Hate crimes are still a thing happening in Oregon. Want to know the problem? The problem would be indifference. People like that talking about oh, let me see both sides. Oh, this isn't really happening. Oh, you're making a big deal out of nothing. That is how this heinous shit continues, is that you continue to be indifferent to it. And that's not my problem. My problem is when this shit is still occurring, and I'll be damned if I just sit around and not do something about it. I am going to speak up. It is better to speak up than to have people believe that you'll condone that shit. Not today. Like, for real. So... these people. But anyway, please follow me on my backup page, the Caucasity Counselor, because I want to be able to go live on there too. That way, I will be able to provide all of the necessary resources that people seem to think don't exist. It doesn't take much to crack open a book. It's not going to hurt you. Sundown Town still exists? Absolutely. I live in Oregon. It's full of them. This was supposed to be a whole ass sundown state. Fuck you, me. But thank you for sending me my crown, honey. Happy Women's History Month. Since it is Women's History Month, here is my question before I get on out of here. Did you cite a black woman today? Did you cite a black woman in academia today? Black women exist within fields of sociology, anthropology, science, mathematics. Did you cite a black woman today? Have we used black women as a source today? Did we check with black women today? Oregon is a socialist state. Oh, honey, you really just let Beyonce's internet know that you don't know what socialism is. Pull one out for this one right here, because your brain cells are done. Yes! Black woman right here citing another black woman. Love it. If we're equal, why does it matter? Well, you just answered your own question. We're not. And then while we're on the subject of equality, I hate to break it to you, but the black community already had a conversation about this. We don't want equality anymore. We want equity. We need equity. And if you don't know what that is, honey, Google it. Reverse racism is exactly what you're doing. Mayo Maggot, no one asked you. If you don't like what it is that I'm saying, odds are you're part of the problem. If you have a problem with everything the fuck I just said, you're part of the problem. There is no such thing as reverse racism. You're just butthurt. That's it. Look what up? Your feelings? No, I do not want to research your feelings today. Sorry. I'm not here for that. In case you haven't noticed, black people don't like working for free. How is it that I make my problems your problems if you're the one that's causing my problem? It's the reverse. You're making your problem my problem. The fact that you think some type of way about me and my race, that is a you problem, but you're making it my problem. And I have a problem with that last part. Stop saying yas. It's an LGBTQ phrase. Okay, first of all, no it isn't. Because white people literally copy black people all the fucking time. Black people literally came up with that. You think that this is the first time that white people looked into black culture, cherry-picked certain parts that they liked, made it into their own, and then claimed that they came up with it? Child, anyways. Okay. Y'all the trendsetters? The Mayo Maggots are the trendsetters now? Yeah, no. Because y'all done tried to colonize baby hairs. How you gonna colonize baby hairs? You really tried to call it something the fuck else. No. Those are baby hairs. And you thought that you thought you did something. Can you cook some pancakes? Can you manifest some common sense? Apparently not. Right, they really did just say that yas was an LGBT term. They really said that. Yes, they did. They said that with their whole chest on Beyonce's internet. It doesn't even matter that I myself am bisexual. I'm still mad at the part where we're purposefully forgetting that black people came up with the shit. Which brings me back to, did we cite a black woman today? This is why even on the topic of feminism, it's segregated, because mainstream feminism isn't it doesn't even apply to black women. We had to come up with our own black feminist theory. Thank you, Audre Lorde. You a real one. But back to the fact that I'm not making this shit up. So the fact that Black History Month is over, that further lets me know that y'all just spent time dancing to hip hop music and ain't looked up shit about black people. You did not cite a black woman. You didn't read not near black author. You just danced, did the what? You did the Cupid shuffle off beat and then went about your white ass business. That's about all that happened. And I'm tired of that shit. Like, can we stop this? Yes. Offbeat as hell. And I'm not even making that shit up either. I went to a white high school. I have seen that shit. So here's what happened. It's homecoming, okay? Cupid Shuffle song just came out. We getting it in, all right? And then it comes time to do the Cupid Shuffle. So tell me why this blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman DJ, because that's who was DJing at the time, stops the music. And then she starts giving the crowd a tutorial of how to do the Cupid Shuffle. And I'm just looking at this bitch like, and I'm looking at the crowd like, I can't be the only one that has a problem with this. The instructions are in the damn song. It's in the song. Why? I think it was I want to say it was my sophomore year. So maybe 2010. Something like that. Yeah. Around 2010, that's when it happened. But that's not the only time. That is not the only time that they just disrespected black people and they don't even know that they did it. Okay, so I was in gym class and it was my freshman year. And I know that because my freshman year was the only time that I had gym class. And I made it a top priority to never go to that gym class ever again. So freshman year, we're doing this like dance class or some shit like that. And they were learning how to do the electric slide. Black people. See, this is why I'm glad we stopped inviting white people to the cookout. Because this shit ain't gonna fly no more. This cannot stand. The cookout is closed. Okay? So here's what happened. So we're in dance class. And they're giving the tutorial of how to do the electric slide. Tell me why these white people are doing the electric slide in a fast, upbeat tempo. Child? No. Incorrect. I need to speak to the manager. Oh, at this point, I need to speak to the... Y'all, when I tell y'all I was mad than a motherfucker, and no one could understand why I was mad, and the fact that I was the only black chick in my class, no one could quite understand my frustration. And I could not exhibit that shit because I'll be labeled as the angry black woman. But y'all don't understand how disrespectful that shit is. Like, you fucked up the dance that wasn't even meant for you. Candace Owens is laughing at you. Honey, the world is laughing at this woman. I could give less of a fuck about Candace Owens' feelings. Why, thank you. I wasn't the only black girl out of the whole school. I was, at the time, one of five. There were five other black girls that went to my high school. And no, we were not in the same grade. Candace is smart. That's because Candace makes you feel comfortable in your whiteness. In case you haven't noticed, that's called a pet Negro. Now, if you don't know what a pet Negro is, may I remind you, this is the perfect time to cite a black woman. Amen. Zora Neale Hurston wrote an article called The Pet Negro System. I encourage you to Google it. Now back to the conversation. So when I say that the way that Toni Morrison described the Africanist presence in literature, I started to see similarities within my experience in a predominantly white area, with white people cherry picking certain parts of the Africanist presence and incorporating it, watering it down into their own, and calling it good. Yeah. That's my experience. And that's why I really need to become the family and equity liaison with the Medford School District, because I would be kick ass at that job. We gonna learn today. Because it doesn't take just being black to do this position. You also have to do your research too. You got to read some books, and I know that may scare some of y'all, but I take this kind of thing seriously because I'm thinking about the aspiring black students that currently go to that school, because I used to be them, but there wasn't a diversity inclusion plan or no kind of shit like that when I was coming up. So the fact that this opportunity has presented itself, I want to be part of the solution, because everywhere I look, I see a problem. So, right, exactly. You have to be culturally black for this position, and I could not have said that better my goddamn self. Thank you. Thank you so much for that comment. Exactly. Exactly. What part of what I said was self-pity? I don't pity any part of my blackness. The only people that seem to have a problem with my blackness are white. And they're making it my problem. The pity is on you. That's called projection. Right, like we really don't need a Candace Owens for this type of position. And believe you me, I have met one or two black folks out here that had that kind of mentality, and I did not think that I would see it up close, but I did. It took me off guard for a minute. I was like, ooh, you're gonna be a problem later on in life. How is it properly educated to cater to the feelings of white people? Because that's exactly what Candace Owen does. That is the function of a pet Negro. Why do I need to divide? The division was here before I got here. Sure. The only reason why it is that white people tend to gravitate towards Candace Owens is because of the pet Negro system. And she's not the first of her type. There was Thomas Sowell from the Reagan administration. He was also a pet Negro. So this is not, an uncommon occurrence. Throughout history within America, there have been buffers between white society and black plight. All you need is a black mouthpiece to say the same rhetoric that white people do, and you'll be able to reinforce the most heinous of systems. And that is the function of a pet Negro. So, I didn't make this up. And I bet it pains white people too that black people analyze them in a similar way that they analyze us. But see, when we analyze you, it is for safety, because if we don't monitor your actions, if we don't analyze how white supremacy will affect us, we will put ourselves in danger, even more danger than we are right now. And that's the way it is. And just because that's the way it is, that doesn't make it right. My wild imagination is conjuring lynchings, because that's the heinous system that I'm referring to. I am referring to all of the negative stigma that is imposed on black people, partly because of pet Negroes like Candace Owens, Thomas Sowell, Daniel Cameron. What's that Supreme Court judge's name? He's a black man, but he's not kinfolk. I forget what his name is, but him too. Oh, you think white people, you thought that I scalped a white girl and put it on my head? Is that what you think would happen? You think that I'm out here buying them Vermont bundles? Is that what you think occurred? Okay. Sorry, but I would prefer it if my hair didn't have lice in it. No, thank you. No. That's the part that really gets me too, is that you think that certain features are only privy to white girls. No. Okay, so Clarence Thomas, that's his name. Okay, so yeah, he's a problem too. Okay. Will you let the people who disagree with you join your life? Fuck no. Why would I want to do that? So they can get on here and say, this person's racist because she's setting boundaries. Pew. So white people can have cornrows, right? No. In a sense that cornrows are not even meant for your hair texture. It's not. And plus, I didn't scalp a white woman in order to get this hair. Bold of you to assume that this came from a white woman. No, it didn't. Girl. And then what's even funnier is that these white folks don't even know about the black people that live in this country, but they think that they know the entire geopolitical landscape of the continent of Africa. That's some crazy shit, right? Because when you think about it, Africa is a whole ass continent full of different ethnic groups, regardless of what country we're talking about. Hundreds of ethnic groups. And then with that also comes different hair textures. So they think that this only exists on a Becky. That's crazy, isn't it? I can't. I cannot. That's cray-cray. I mean, if you want to fuck up your scalp, go ahead and do that. In fact, you know what? Go ahead, white girl. Go and get the tightest box braids you possibly fucking can. I hope you do. Go out and get the tightest box braids. Don't even moisturize that shit. Go ahead and do it and see what happens. See what happens. You will fuck your shit up. And I'm not gonna feel bad. Wait till they find out that wigs were invented in Africa. That's gonna be some shit. Is that wigs already existed before colonialism? Don't that beat all? Don't that just beat all? So the lack of knowledge of all of the things that the continent of Africa has contributed to the rest of the world, the fact that that is lost to a lot of white people and they think that they're the center of every fucking thing, that's astounding, ain't it? You just think that we don't have cultural ties to our own hair, and that's because you're ignorant. And that's not my problem. And then they even go further to say that black people don't have a culture at all. Yet they're constantly stealing it from us. Isn't that crazy? That is the biggest type of racial gaslighting. That's cray cray. And I know they mad as shit. They are mad as shit. Because white society can't stand it when a black woman sets a boundary. They can't. Remember that time? It was a whole TikTok thread. Black woman gets on TikTok. She's dancing and she's like, I don't like white people and don't call me sis. Then a whole ass thread of butthurt white people, the Mayo maggots, the bleach demons, the chalk children were going crazy. They kept calling her sis and all this other kind of mess because they can't fucking handle it. They cannot handle it. They can't. It's crazy. There's nobody sticking a bone through their nose. There's literally white people walking around with gauges. The fuck? Give it another couple of years. Trust me. You'll find a way to appropriate it. It's just... Oh my god. Host get her GED. Why would I need my GED when I went to college? But that would be white supremacy talking once again. We don't think that black people can be educated, let alone a black woman. But hey, again, that's more of a personal problem. That's not my problem. So... And that's the funny part too, is that they think that affirmative action is the reason why, black people have all of a sudden become successful. And it's like affirmative action only really benefited white women more than anybody else. You just attach it to black people. And then here's my follow-up question to the statement that I just made. What was the reason we needed affirmative action in the first place if we're all just human? If we're all just people? Could it possibly be that there was discriminatory hiring practices before then? So systemic racism is real, huh? Exactly. Racism. It really do be the dumb people that's like the best at it.